I didn't know you guys could comment before I started the thing. Yeah. Felt like doing a little bit of throwback Grant Hill today. That is in the rotation. And I had to do a little bit of shaving right here for you guys. That's what took me, very honest over here. That's what took me a little longer. I'll get to your questions in just a sec. Because it looks like Kawaiian Calendar left some questions not actually being here. But we're going to start the party with my first energy drink. I got into NOS, particularly the grape, in 2012 while visiting my grandpa in the hospital all summer long. Well, starting in the spring through the summer. And that was the reason why I didn't have a review of the first Avengers movie the week it came out. I'm trying not to get that to explode on here. But, yeah, I probably shouldn't have gone down that route. I've probably gained... I feel like I look rather pudgy compared to how I used to, but... And then in the other pictures, I'm like, I largely look the same and way less effort, so... Calendar asks, I caught Cobra Kai full episodes, and I'm waiting for the second part of this season. Season 6 thus far has been better than I anticipated. It is a little unpredictable. Like, you know largely who's going where. I don't really like the idea of trying to expand on the Mr. Miyagi lore, and now it's making it seem like, oh, maybe he killed someone at the Saikai Taikai. Things that never were mentioned to his most trusted student, right? And now we're going to have to learn about Miyagi's lore in this weird way. But, yeah, I'm sure something will come up, and it'll probably just so happen to coincide with the Cobra Kai people. Miyagi fought a Cobra Kai back in the 40s or something, right? I have to watch General Hospital all week. I hope that we had this stimulating conversation. Why are you watching General Hospital all week, man? Sometimes my mom has that on, but I don't think anyone's really paying attention to it. I see it on TV, when going through the channels, and it's like, I don't really see all that much hospital work. Like, does anyone ever go in for surgery? I don't really see them at the hospital that much, to be honest with you. Dawn's here. Have you watched Deadpool yet? No. I would like to hear your review of the movie. Got a lot going on. I did a comedy show in the morning, Wednesday morning, and it was, yeah, I mean, okay, so small school district, 2A school district was kicking off seminars for teachers for the upcoming school year. Wanted it to be a little bit more. So when they're eating breakfast, I jump in and tell them about my time in grade school and growing up in Oklahoma and then coming to Kansas. I mean, it wasn't bad. But it's like, oh man, I gotta wake up at I gotta get to school at 8, and we have to sit through seminars about 401k and health insurance. Surprise comedian while you're eating breakfast. So it's not the most conducive environment, but I think it's a decent. Now, there are other schools in the area that are doing similar stuff, so I could be kind of busy with this. On the other hand, also have a lawn work, stuff happening in the house, new back, lots of things going on. I haven't really given any thought, and the more I kind of see about it, and I don't want to see anything about it. Now I know Wesley Snipes shows up as Blade. I've seen Channing Tatum as Gambit. I don't want to know anymore. Shoot, I would kind of rather pick it up on 4K than have to subscribe to Disney Plus at this point. Seriously. However, already have Hulu with no ads, you can add Disney Plus for $1. To Disney Plus no ads, added to Hulu Plus no ads, $1. So it's almost like why not, right? Okay, hold on, I gotta say some more here. Oh man, I gotta do that reel about them comms. I know I wrote it out too. And I have not recorded today's podcast with my mom. I think she forgot about it and she's been busy, whatever. If we get through this fastish enough, maybe she'll still have some juice and I can get something out today. But yeah, she doesn't show any urgency and she doesn't promote it. She doesn't tell her hairdresser, so it is what it is. I mean, we get 3 viewers a week for a year, right? What's the future of DC films? Can't back. It's going to get worse. It doesn't look like they're doing comedy with this new Superman. Is it called Superman Legacy? It doesn't look like they're doing comedy, but isn't that the only thing? Is it James Gunn? What something Gunn, right? Anything he knows. So I'm expecting it to be way more comedic than the Snyderverse. And I don't Superman comedy stuff meshes that well, really. Not in that way. Not in the way it's gonna go. Also, I really hate the biatch they got Lois Lane. Dawn, also, for those of you still listening here, there may be a guest next week. I'm working having a guest. It's going to be complicated because I need to figure out a way to talk to her while also hearing myself possibly, and I probably can't use this mic. I may have to order something. And because of the subject matter and what may be happening during the stream, it will likely be age restricted. Just letting you know up front to buckle up. All right, so okay? Why don't studios make rom-coms anymore? Are they not profitable or anything? I think Don is just trying to get the conversation going. He knows I mention this every week. It's like they make one movie, they put all their money in one basket, and they say this is the surest bet, a movie body, and look what we ended up with: Borderlands. Is Eli Roth proof that the most important thing you can be in Hollywood is friends with Quentin Tarantino? Because what does he do that says, let's keep giving this guy opportunities? I don't know what it could be, right? Look, guys, if you want to save the movies, write a rom-com. Genre diversity, get the girls going back to the movies for girls. Things were going pretty good when YA novels like Twilight were making bank because it freed up stuff for guys. Now we just put everybody is boom, everybody smash it together. We make a highly mitigated film. Twilight could make a ton of money without guys seeing it. And we used to make plenty of money with superhero and action films without any women going. So why does it have to be for everybody now? Did you make the kids laugh during the seminar? No, it was a teachers only thing. It was a series of seminars in the day leading first week of school. So as the school year, everybody's having to go through these seminars, and they thought, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's have a comedian come in here. And that's fine, but it's not a drunk crowd. It's a crowd that is eating breakfast bagels. And they just, showed up and they're not expecting a comedian. When you give people a comedian and they don't expect it, it is very, very difficult. I had to do comedy during a fireworks show. Before a fireworks show between bands covering classic rock. And that was rough. That was probably my roughest gig. Only got bailed out because of my quotes at the end. So, did you watch Fight Club and is it overrated? I believe I have a comment track for Fight Club. on this channel, and it's rated quite highly by people nowadays. So saying overrated is kind of tough because it's like its time it was not highly rated. It was like a box office bomb. It became a cult film of sorts. I don't even think it was contemporarily reviewed favorably. Now you can't really look back at that, but there's going to be a lot of new reviews skewing that on Rotten Tomatoes, our savior. But I think Fight Club's good. We got to let somebody else ask some questions here. Did you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt and Leo? Thoughts on it? I did, and I reviewed it on this channel, and it's one of those reviews where you think you might want to have not done it, right? Almost like Star Trek 2009. I saw through a lot of how Quentin Tarantino works in Inglourious Bastards. I called him out on that before anybody else. But this movie, he's just so far up his ass making a movie for himself. And the tone is all over the place. Don't really know what the story is. The story just kind of actually starts in the last 10 minutes and just falls on Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio. It just does. Oh, hey, these guys that were going to go kill Sharon Tate, they just came to our place instead. Okay. Well, I guess we got to kill. Good thing I have that flamethrower. Yeah, you keep the flamethrower from your Nazi movie, right? And you're going to flamethrow the biatch who is in the swimming pool. And this is something we want to give Oscars to, because look, the guy's got a flamethrower. You're in the substance which is resistant to flames, water. And you get toasted. Just dumb stuff. It becomes the Evil Dead at the end for just no reason. That fight scene is very Evil Dead. And that's, Quentin Tarantino wanting to reference things he likes. And he's always going on about how much he loves the 70s, like late 70s, early 70s vibe. It has to be like everything he does. It besmirches Bruce Lee in a way that I think Fei Long. Rumor was that because of this, his family is putting tighter control over his name, image, likeness. And that somehow makes it so that Fei can't be in Street Fighter. And then other people are saying that's BS, that's not true. There is no Fei Long in Street Fighter 6, so maybe there is some truth behind that. Is Quentin Tarantino an overrated director? Very, very overrated. Look, I haven't seen Jackie Brown. Has he made a particularly good movie since Pulp Fiction? Because I haven't seen a lot of his stuff lately. I haven't seen Django Unchained. I haven't seen Hateful Eight, because I don't want to sit through it. I don't. He's so intrigued by his own dialogue that you just have very talky scenes that don't serve the plot, and they don't really make the characters enjoyable, and it's not funny. It's just like, look, we get it. You like people sitting and talking. Shit. Okay. Guys, other people, you gotta ask some questions here. Why do most action movies seem so boring to me? Too many 110-pound women beating up grown men. Maybe. Thoughts on modern action movies? Oh, did I see something recently where I was like, that's a kind of skinny girl. Oh, right. Rebel Moon. Sophia Boutella is all, but she's got the ballerina background thing, so she do the choreography. Dumb people, when they try to make their like little indie movies, they always like looking for someone with a dance background because they heard Jackie Chan dance. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. Her case, she looks like she's fairly goodish shape. It's not like she's Amy Schumer, right? Or Rebel Wilson Moon. Now there's a movie for Netflix. But yeah, I think she might have actually done all of her own stunts. There's a shitload of green screen, but I didn't look at any scene there and go, "Oh, here's the shot reverse where uh, the stunt double, where it's so easy to see with Scarlett Johansson and shit." I'm sure Captain Marvel's, a lot of stunt double for her too, but I didn't see stunt double stuff happening here. There's so damn slow motion, you have to look at her. So yeah. Did you watch American History X? Thoughts on it? I did, and it was a good movie. Wouldn't necessarily watch it again. It's very weird because it's like, hey, why don't we bunch of guys that are on TV shows right now? Like, we got the guy from he's the dad from Boy Meets World, and I've never seen him in another movie. And then we've got Beverly D'Angelo from Vacations in it, but she wasn't necessarily on TV. But then you got Captain Cisco, and it's like, have you seen him in a movie? Like, it's just kind of strange, but yeah, that was not bad. That was another movie. Maybe this is Edward Norton's thing, is to have the cult hit instead of the hit at the box office, because that was a movie that people latched onto after the fact also. And Edward Norton was straight jet sleeper build, and he was way more jacked than Brad Pitt in Fight Club at times in American History X, like way. Yeah. Like, don't mess with that guy. Never got jacked like that again, really. What are your thoughts on the Silence of the Lambs? I may have to do a reel on this, Don, but Silence of the Lambs it's good. It is not actually as good as people will tell you it is. And I kind of think 7 exposes Silence of the Lambs. 7 looks so much more artsy and arguably more cerebral and emotive. Silence of the Lambs has some cool things going for it. Things that you probably laugh at, maybe unintentionally. So it puts lotion, all the Buffalo Bills dance, things happening, right? Look, if you have this maniac serial killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, do you keep him in a castle for laughs? Like, is that an opera where we're going to keep the guy? Because I'm not so sure that that's the way things work. Shit, where I live, all the high schools, all the prisons, all the malls look alike. They don't also have a castle for the inmates, right? So I miss the 90s. They had the best horror movies that were actually scary. What happened in the horror genre? I've talked about that too. Everything has goofy, over-the-top sound effects. Guys, you got to get that like button there. If you don't hit the like button, there will be nothing left of Fantasia Barrino. The goofy ass sounds have ruined horror so much, and I'm wondering if Scary Movie was the jumping off point. Did we have true send up of the genre before Scary Movie? Like, we had a handful of fun and not necessarily earnest horror films in the Evil Dead franchise, but nobody knew about those. Like, in a way, like Army of Darkness is not a hit. Like, it's something people found out about after the fact. But it was a huge hit, and then just everybody copied it. Like, they did so many of those, then they had all these other different versions, and even when they were taking shit seriously, you had the over-the-top sound effects, the laughable, where decapitations are now funny and shit, and that's what happens. But you could get some genuine scary films. Like, Scream rides a line. Scream is actually a better version of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I watched that a few months back when I marathoned the available Freddy movies on Netflix. Remember when they had almost all the Freddy movies, but only for a month? Thank you, Netflix. They had all of them except Dead, the Final Nightmare. But yeah, the first one's really good, and then it goes down and it gets less serious, but maybe more fun. And I'm not gonna take it too seriously after a point, but the first one you feel like you can take seriously. At least I felt. I'm not sure if the Friday the 13th film ever felt serious enough for me. Halloween, the first one, definitely seemed to be serious, and the franchise largely took things seriously. Maybe three is not supposed to be a comedy, so that's definitely not a point in which things got bad, but I mean, for the whole genre, that is. Was prime Jodie Foster hot to you? Trying to think, what's prime Jodie Foster? Nell, maybe? She wasn't bad. Like, I have a joke about, okay, I'll say it here. So we have this Trump shooting, and the biggest news after the fact is police still don't know of the shooter. And I don't care what the motive is. It like doesn't matter. He shot at the former president, the guy running, the guy leading the polls, shot at the guy, killed somebody else, and we are so concerned about the motive. I don't care about the unless it was to impress Jodie Foster, like the guy who shot Reagan. And then Jodie Foster's like, "Look, I'm just so sick of these guys thinking they can impress me. Hey, I'm coming out as a lesbian." The guy's like, "You know what? If I shoot Donald, maybe I can turn her back." So yeah, that's a bit I'm kind of doing. Would you rather have 1 million subs but be you're demonetized? Oh boy, ooh. Would you rather be Steven Crowder? Shit. So I was listening to his podcast the other day, and it is weird. Like, I don't want to have to say weird like the liberals are talking about JD Vance. It's weird. Like, what does that mean? It's like just a catch-all they've come up with. But Steven Crowder will do a whole podcast, a whole show talking about how he's getting demonetized and this is dangerous. The liberal media has so much control, guys. He only when it affects his bottom line. That's what it's about. Look at like how much money he wanted from the Daily Wire. So we have scumbag versus scumbag trying to rip each other off the best. And he went, "Oh, we're demonetized. This is against the First Amendment." And they said that we're going to pull advertisement from Rumble because Steven Crowder's on there. And that makes me mad because money. And this, because I lost money, that's an attack on you guys. You can't be informed. You're not informing anybody. You're reacting to the news, buddy. You're doing something very disposable. So, yeah, you're not really creating for that matter. I guess I would take the 11 million and then just tour, do stand up, shoot a feature on the cheap, whatever. Yeah, it's free also. Jeez, yeah. Then you can start a channel that's not demonetized, right? Do you believe Disney and most studios are secretly using AI to write their stories, or are the writers that bad? There were rumors in Madam Web that was written by AI, and you can really get that feeling. AI is doing a better job with drawing than it does telling a joke or telling a story for that matter. I have tried. I messaged a supermodel this morning on Instagram, and on Instagram they have Meta's AI built in, and you can rephrase things to make it funny. It's like, hey, you want your opening line to be good with the hot chick? So I said to her, "This is me, comedy." I said, "What is your preferred gaming platform and why is it Xbox?" And then I thought, okay, what's Meta going to say here? Like, what does this button do? I didn't even know. And it rephrased it. And it can't, and I'm like, okay, turn already funny question into something funny. And it was just gibberish. It wasn't even really a sentence or some shit. I'm like, no, that's an epic fail. That's not any good. There are times where you're watching things, and I'm not sure about the movies. I'm gonna grab this. I keep having this on hand, this stress ball. But have you looked at articles? Uh, 8 years ago, articles got really bad. Lots of bad writing. Not, very hard to discern who they're talking about. You just get he, him, it, and it's like, what, the sheriff, the victim, the perp, who are we talking about? And now articles are so written by AI with no real concern for details, and what can it leave out to make you click on the thumbnail to read it and stuff. It's terrible trying to get news online now. They've made getting news online so bad that I think the only news source I can trust is local TV, because they seem to have to go through some kind of vetting process, and it's fairly unbiased report. Do you think Robert Downey Jr. is a bad choice for Doctor Doom? Yes, he seems too old and he isn't muscular. I saw your drawing, by the way. When I think of Doom, I would pick a young, muscular, attractive guy like Brandon Sklenar. Who is that? The Robert Downey Jr. combined with the Russo brothers. Surprise, we're bringing the band back together. That is that is not the way forward. That is, we have to run back and try to gather together the scraps of what was working. This isn't listening to the fans, guys. Though some people on YouTube will contort that and be like, "Oh, hey, they're listening to us. The girl boss stuff is dead, guys." This isn't the way forward. Backwards is not going to assure things up for the future. And I don't really feel like Robert Downey Jr. can do a villain. Like, it's almost like you're going to feel he's too funny, but in a non-threatening way. I'd almost bet on it. He's going to feel like Tony Stark called Doom, Doctor Doom, is what it's going to be. Mark my words. Oh, Mary here. Yeah, Mary asked, "Hey, are you doing a stream Friday?" And I'm like, probably. And the reason why is it's just a little easier than having to. I have to eventually sometime get all the clips for Frozen Empire and do that review, which I was thinking about today. But I got other stuff. Got a lot of things happening with Amazon. If you guys ever shop Amazon, make sure you use my shop. And then, like, all you gotta do is just like hit the bookmark every once a month or something, and then when you buy something on the app, like, attribute it to me, and I get a few pennies. So a lot of things happening, but yeah. Mary asks, would you watch and do a TV series review on the Wednesday show if I sent you $5? I did the first season. I think I might have done 2 videos because I didn't finish the season, and I declared that it was a ripoff of Harry Potter. And then as I watched more, there are so many Harry Potter references in it, I don't even think I put them all in the damn video. Like, it is quite clear Netflix could not afford to wrangle Harry Potter away from Warner Brothers. And so they said, how can we build our own Harry Potter? It's like Moneyball. Like, lost Jason Giambi. Why don't we get his brother? So that's what they did. Wednesday Addams is not that character. They made her into Harry Potter. And if you disagree with me, go away, because that's what happened. I did kind of like it, though. It was not bad. It's one of the better things on Netflix. There are things that bothered me about it. Hideous Gomez, just after Raul Julia, it's a tough act to follow for Gomez, seriously. And I need to see this stuff. I know I need to watch. Was it with William Hurt, like something of the Spider Woman or Kiss of the Spider Woman? I need to watch that. I need to watch his the British girl that's like Armenian and she has the song about him. Catch Me Before I Go. Houdini. Yeah, there you go. Much more of his stuff. Would you rather live in the Witcher universe? Mary, I have spent the last... Let's see, I woke up at 5. I've spent almost the last 13 straight hours playing Witcher Hunt. I wanted to get back into the game, and It took a little while because I was rusty. I hadn't played it in 3 years, and I'm on death march. Yeah, my first playthrough, I decided to play on the high stick, and I can't get off of it. I am sticking with it, and I'm getting my ass pounded. And then I get to some boss, like the next boss in the thing, and it was some vampire chick in a wine cellar, and she's destroying me. So then I leave the area. I load up the previous save, and I'm going to try to level up and work on my anti-vampire serum and lotion, oils, all that stuff. It puts the oil on its sword, or else it gets the hose. Then I go into fight her. Kaboom, boom, boom. Dead. I got her. And I could show you guys the clip. The game messed up. Like, I had a sign of protection that also breaks, and it has a little bit of concussion thing, and somehow she got knocked, and then I stabbed her in the chest. So I had like an instant finisher, and I'm looking around like, how did I just one hit this broad, kill me in one hit, and I have to hit her 100 times to take her life bar down? It just zoop. So there are ways to game the finishers in that against human-like characters. So I'm definitely going to be doing that from now on. So that is a game I'm going to have to get to reviewing. I'm collecting clips right now. It is not the kind of game that one would expect me to like. Full stop. Open world, usually hate that. The setting is not necessarily my vibe. But, like, you feel so much more like you were actually role-playing in Witcher 3 than almost any other game out there. Still. It's kind of remarkable. So yeah, and it can be pretty engrossing. Like, I mean, just time flies when you're trying to kill vampires in the cellar, right? Okay, what is something? Would you rather live in the Witcher universe, the Halo? Oh, gee, ooh, As a normal human, I would take the one with the tech. Give me the Halo universe. Would you rather live as a Witch Spartan 2? I'm trying to remember which ones the Spartans are. Is that Chief? I think so, right? Do you have any hope for season 3 of Witcher being... Wait a minute, I thought we've done season 3. I watched 2 seasons, and then I started watching a third and just checked out. So I think you're thinking of season 4. And that's going to be the first one with Liam Hemsworth. From what I've seen so far of what they teased us, he doesn't look that different as Geralt, surprisingly. I just thought that the show got off on the wrong foot season 1 with the not, like, incredibly obtrusive time jumps, working multiple timelines without any tell. Until several episodes in, do you realize, oh, that shit was in the past? Like, I've never seen a show do it like that. Say what you will about Netflix's Resident Evil. Believe me, there's a lot to say. Because I'm like the only person who had anything good to say about it at all. At least you knew what timeline you were in. Right? Because they replaced the damn actors. Geralt didn't age. Dandelion didn't age. It was like, oh, you're telling me that was like 30 years ago? Like, what? To me, like, shit's sake. What do you do in your free time when you're not? Well, I mean, everything I do it for you. Like Bryan Adams. It's like, I'm playing a game so I can talk about it to 3 people online. I do. A buddy of mine from college, he's having a tough time in the restaurant business. So he's been between some work, and then we've been playing stuff. We've been playing Resident Evil 5 co-op. He got me into Fall Guys, and we're probably going to run some Doom 1, Doom 2 tonight, because they just released a new version of that on Game Pass. 4K, 120 hertz Doom. Should the Series X be able to run that without crashing? I would sure hope so. When we the co-op, controller 2 can't move. They screwed up the online co-op and released it. So if there's not a day 1 patch, I guess we can't do that shit tonight. Just, can everybody just shit by me before they release it to the public? Christ. Yeah, so I'm walking around and doing like, okay, so where he's like, I can't move. I'm like, hit everything on default. You didn't go in the controls? No, nothing. It's almost like using the original engine and it not sensing that he's next to you on the keyboard. Remember how like sometimes you'd have player one, player two on a keyboard, and you'd have to be over there with like QWR, and the other guy has like the actual things to walk. I think that's how they coded this shit. Ah, Jesus Christ. Have you ever thought traveling to South America or Europe? Why don't you? Expensive, possibly dangerous. Uh, Also, language barrier, not necessarily in the places, but en route. I don't need to be getting held in a country where I don't speak the language so much. But I'll tell you this, man. I've been seeing some sound broads. I mean, kind of thinking maybe go to South Korea over Japan now. 'Cause a lot of hot Japanese girls. Tends, except the broad in Deadpool movies, right? Do you think you could survive on a ship? Aliens in the movies. Oh, when you said ship, I'm imagining like a boat. A boat full of aliens. Oh, that'd be rough. Yeah, I'd probably be fine because look, part of our advantage is we know everything about the xenomorph, the facehugger, the egg, the queen, the Praetorian, the Pred alien, all that shit. The characters don't, so we have an edge, right? We're fine. Prime Jodie Foster from Silence of the Lambs or Prime Sigourney Weaver from Alien 1. Who would you date? So now, Don, you got Mary into the who am I dating questions. Thanks. I'm going to go with Prime Jodie Foster because Sigourney Weaver is at the height cutoff. 5'11 is not happening. Super deep question here from Esh88. I hope by the time I got to this, he's still here. Or she. Let's not. Hope you understand that. What's your opinion on 50-50? I don't know what that is. I don't eat whole wheat bread, typically. I do like sourdough a good deal. Been eating white because it's supplied to me too often. But, I would prefer to go for a lighter calorie, and I don't do a lot of sandwiches in the daytime and lunch, and I don't do a lot of fast food so much anymore because prices. When I do have like deli meat, I usually do a wrap, like a big tortilla thing that has some spicy jalapeno type peppers kind of baked into it. So I heat up a wrap, and I don't know if that's any better for you or not, but it's not bread. So, but it's sort of bread adjacent. Who cares? Who is the better director, Ridley Scott or Zack? It's not even close. Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott has several movies that are really damn good. Zack Snyder's one good movie is not even really a movie. The Justice League Snyder Cut's the only movie of his that I like. I mean, I was not even that thrilled with his version of Dawn of the Dead. I'm sorry, and despite the efforts of Phil Dunphy, who is quite the villain, it's just you can see everything that is wrong with his stuff today started there. Well, okay, actually 300's good, but I would probably pick the Snyder cut of this league over 300, but yeah, just slow motion, totally unmotivated, stupid looking visuals that are, kind of giving you a headache with like super high contrast. He'll pull that kind of shit now, right? So is Sophia Botella from Rebel Moon hot? No, I wouldn't say. If money wasn't an issue, what place in the US would you live? The media tells us you're supposed to get out of the Midwest or country, but I don't see any good reason to not be in the Midwest. So, I mean, anywhere else you go, Massive crime, hurricanes, earthquakes, landslide, forest fire. All I've got to do is just not have a tornado. Knock on wood. And I'm pretty much set. I can't, might have a flood. Have you thought about wearing a nice suit to stand up for the other YouTubers? Nice suit to stand out for. Oh, okay. I thought for stand-up comedy. I have thought about getting some suits for stand-up comedy, but it's not that. It's not so much. Okay, I think it was Dick Clark who said, "If you dress like the audience, you're going to be in the audience." That works in 1960s TV. That's not really games played now, but I did come across some brand called Twillery, advertised to me on Instagram, so I'll probably end up buying it. That seems to be Discover stuff. And they make like a jersey, almost like, lots of holes, aerated type mesh jacket. Supposedly it doesn't look see-through, or it doesn't look mesh. My concern with the coats and stuff is I perspire like a slug. Like if I sit on something for a bit, there's going to be a snail trail. I would end up a suit's way too hot for me. It's just going to fly. And thank God now we have LEDs instead of like the halogen, tungsten. Those would cook me. So, it's good that we have the stuff that we have now. Otherwise, it would be way too hot under the lights to even be bothering with this. Okay. Okay, Don, did you sign into the Mary account? Because it's like you guys can't be in the same place at the same time, but you're going to ask kind of the same questions. Is that what's happened here? What about wearing, a suit? We already said that. Will you watch the new Alien Romulus? Probably. I find it weird that there are 3 different novelty popcorn bins for one movie. They have a facehugger one, have a mouth closed xenomorph, and then they have a mouth open xenomorph. Of the 3, I prefer the facehugger. It just seems more practical because it's a standard bucket with a facehugger on the outside. The other ones, I think you're compromising your ability to stuff popcorn in and reuse, let alone clean. So, let's see. Is it AMC that has the one with the facehugger? I may actually seek out an AMC theater to see that and try to bring back one of these buckets. I suppose I may have to try to call in advance to secure a bucket because there might be such a rush for them. Then again, if we know our history, August is like a dumping ground, or traditionally was, and people don't go to the theater because they're getting their kids into college, into high school, into grade school, and all this stuff, and people are busy with other shit. So, not expecting a huge return out of Alien Romulus. I'm not. I think it's going to bring in sub 100 million, but it will be viewed fairly well critically, despite being essentially look at from the director of Don't Breathe, and it's basically Don't Breathe. And the aliens are the blind guy. And you have people breaking into his house to steal stuff. So it's going to be something similar, but it's going to be fairly well received, but not make 100 million. That's my guess. Do you like playing sports or... Okay, hold on. What else? Why don't you go to the theaters anymore? You don't like the feeling on going to the theater? The theater's just too expensive. I now have to eat popcorn every time I watch a spoiled by having a popcorn machine at my house. And now if you go to the theater and you don't get the popcorn, you're going to feel screwed. You feel screwed going to the theater for a movie you can't pause and rewatch and get clips from. And what am I going to review? Like, just stand here and not have Gloria, like, to, actually reinforce my points? Is that going to be popular? And it's so hard to put a good review of a new release film all the stuff that people are hitting with on YouTube, it's the video essays, stuff that you want to see, the old things, to consistently come in with the latest thing, whether it sticks or not. There's just no audience for it anymore. It's just not the way things are done now. So a lot of effort, and I can't consistently do it, especially when you have streaming is putting out enough new things to kind of fill that void as far as if you have to review new release stuff. So theaters are in a shitload of trouble. Do you like playing sports or boxing? I don't like playing the sports. You kind of have to have other people to play sports with, and I don't want to screw around with anybody. Ever get anybody else on my schedule. Just so I mean, I do athletic activities on my own. It's kind of the way I roll about it. Seem like you got a lot of steam you need to let out. I probably could have been a really damn punishing boxer, especially my senior year of college. I got down to like 120, and I was a jacked 129. I told people like, yeah, I got done serving time in Lawrence, Kansas, and that, you know, I had my prison weight or whatever. But yeah, that was probably when I would probably have been best ready to go about it. Surely. Your original prompt was so cringe, AI couldn't do much. Oh, I thought. Are you a PlayStation fan? Is that why you think the Xbox is cringe there? By the way, just so you know, she hasn't even looked at the message, so I'm going for me. Is your degree in film studies or something? It is a BGS in film, Bachelor's of General Science, I think it is, or is it General Studies? So they have a BA and a BGS, and the BA required math. BGS required like a oh, they didn't call it a minor. It's like just below a minor, a concentration. So I had like a concentration in English, but it was in all technically, and they don't even offer this degree anymore. However, I will get to this second. So it was a BGS in theater and film emphasis. There is a notable person from the same university with the same BGS in the same field as myself, Rob Riggle. And that's about it. But the point is somebody. Yeah, it's a BGS theater and film emphasis. I had to watch a couple of plays. I watched a few plays. One was called Popcorn, and it was very Quentin Tarantino, very the couple at the beginning of Fiction, and there was a lot of blood, and that, you know, because of all the blood effects, that was considered the fun play or whatever shit. You didn't choose. Would you rather be a Witch Spartan 2? Like, oh, I guess I forgot. I would take Spartan 2. Or you get to be super tall. You have cool armor. You don't really. Okay, here's the problem. You would much rather be Master in a Spartan 2. All the other Spartan 2s have it bad. Master Chief is like unkillable. Just plot armor protects him, right? Is Caitlin Clark hot to you? No. If you have children, will you home them or send them to public school? Well, okay, homeschool. I would take homeschool or public school over private school. Private school is a con. You're not learning more. Learning is not a real thing, guys. Kids are either smart or they're not. They don't learn to be. So you either have the kids that are going to be attuned to excelling at school or they're not. And the ones that are not, you should get them into something else quick. Oh, but you're not supposed to say that. So shit. The private school thing is all about, well, if you don't put your kid in our elementary school, our very selective elementary school where rich kids are, then they're never going to be able to get into Harvard where they can network and have a job working for a rich guy's kid. If you don't do that, then they're going to be going to that community college and they're going to be repairing people's Teslas. It's all fear-based. If you don't give us your money, then you see what I mean? Yeah, private schools are bad. The public school puts everybody on a more equal playing field, at least for a time. Public school is your chance as a middle class guy to get the hottest chick or close to it. Because once you go to the next level, it's going to be, oh, you're not a quarterback for the Chiefs? Then why am I talking to you? It'll be like that. So before you have to be rich and they're still skinny, that's when things are, okay, like their power is way greater than your power, but you're still closer than the Cavs going to be, when you're not a billionaire and she's a supermodel or some shit. So, yeah. So, and by supermodel, I meant escort. So there you go. And that's how private schools work, guys. Why don't you move to Asia and avoid the mess here? Because I don't speak any of the Asian languages. How about that? Do you make? I don't. You know what? I probably, because most of my stuff is online. I probably could kind of live abroad, but there'd be issues with taxes. You earn wages in other countries. You earn wages in other states touring as a comedian. It's a pain in the ass. It's only going to get worse going to other countries. So, yeah, everything gets dumb. Would you rather be a famous comedian or a famous YouTuber? The famous comedian is way less work compared to the YouTuber, where if you aren't writing, hosting, directing, editing your own videos, I don't really feel like you're a YouTuber anymore. You've supplanted the concept of the whole experience of YouTube, and you're trying to be like a media outlet, and you're just going to be as watered down as same-o as everything else. So, do you have a desire to make a fan film? No. If you had a 500, no, fan films are garbage. Like, all it is like, look at my Alien Monday Exposed video from yesterday. If it was using Alien, would anybody watch? Probably not. Maybe it would get to watching. It would take a while. It wouldn't make the same splash. And then we have everybody fawning over this sort of stuff, like Sonic Mania gets made because a guy remade Sonic so good, we have to let him make the next Sonic. Instead of, we're going to sue his ass for copyright infringement, which is the way shit used to get done. I don't know how this asshat is able to put ads on his Alien fan film on YouTube without Disney, their hand up him and working him like a puppet, because that's straight up illegal. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If that shit's allowed, then okay, you guys are making bad Star Trek officially. Why don't everybody else just make Star Trek and profit off of it? See, because that's not the way shit works. So Disney lawyers are going to be getting on that soon. I guarantee you. What's your thoughts on the Olympics? Yeah, it's bad. It was fairly fair for a time. Now you get the sense that the U.S. has bullied their way into position. Because it's like, if anybody can oppose the U.S., they'll find a way to get banned. And then we have a white girl on gymnastics whose foot was not out of bounds, but the judges said it was. And play didn't get to count, but the black girls did, so we could make history with an all-black podium finish in the gymnasts. And it's everywhere we turn with the damn sports, it's about making history. They have to find some way to keep making history, or there isn't a headline. So they will cook up some way to say history. And then, look, I am going to watch USA versus France tomorrow in the gold medal game for men's basketball. And like any red-blooded American, I'm going to be voting for France or rooting for France. Because they're the team that doesn't have LeBron James. They don't have a guy from Cameroon who somehow gets to play for the American team. What is that? Instead, does Gobert, is he like a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year? And Wemby, potential. There's not a lot of guys who after their rookie year are showing flashes of GOAT potential. It's going to be, I know it's a long shot. And he's probably too young to do this, but it would be a huge statement game if Wimby took control and won it for France. Then that would be his "I've arrived" moment. In seriousness, probably can't do it because it's like this: can LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant miss enough baskets for Team USA to lose? Not, if we're being real. What's your favorite console? I think the one that everybody seems to have a lot of love for when it comes to your favorite of all, a lot of people say Super Nintendo. It didn't give you fits. There wasn't a lot to complain about. And it gave you about as good an experience as you get today with the 2D platformer type games. Everybody that's doing that kind of game is trying to emulate the look of a Super Nintendo. Doesn't have online play. Doesn't have CD quality audio, but it did have pretty damn good audio. It had all the it seemed to support more colors than the Neo Geo. I've never been too impressed with the visuals of the Neo Geo, despite what I'm told they can do. Okay, so it can the scaling effects better than the Super Nintendo. But when characters are on screen, how come like the Neo Geo can't seem to do Super Mario Brothers Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island? So yeah, and Yoshi's Island is one of those games that I don't like the term, but it holds up. It stands the test of time. So maybe Super Nintendo, may have to say that. Opinion on Lauren Chen, right-wing Asian YouTuber. She's a bit in the grift world. She does some of her channel called Mediaholic, I think, where she makes the reaction faces to everything. She's playing the same game that do. Oh, it's gone woke. You can't do that all the time. You have to like call it when it's there and not just have the video ready to go waiting for the property to come out like they so often do. And she doesn't really seem to have media criticism. Like she can't seem to sort out polls or the coding and stuff, but she will just seemingly repeat what other guys are saying. And I don't think she's editing her videos. She's not coming up with the ideas for the videos. Not a real YouTuber. So there you go. Will you create a political channel? No, because when you create a political channel, it's like what I just said. You know what you have to say before the news actually happens. You know what angle you're supposed to take. And because you know what you're supposed to say, because you want your audience to agree with you all the time, your content is now completely unimportant because it's so damn predictable. All the right-wing grifty channels, you don't have to watch them. All make the same video. And that one video you didn't even need to watch in the first place because you know what their take's going to be. So that's the problem with we're reacting to you on stream. We're reacting to you on stream. Anti-Semitic. Want to come on and talk about it. Also, not. I mean, you got to use these full sentences here. I don't fully get what we're saying here. Will theaters be obsolete in 100 years from now? As I've said in a previous stream, probably it's going to be a little bit before we get there. If we change the concept of the theater audience to the boomer and engage the boomer rather for the teen who is no longer interested in boomer media, i.e. 2-hour films and the such, without second screening them or getting sidetracked doing something else, I would say the theater has a load of obstacles. Yeah, 100 years, surely it's not going to be around. By the end of the decade, maybe if we're lucky. Or, I mean, if you think being a theater still existing by the end of the decade's luck, good luck, then that's... Bro, we are watching on stream. Hop and defend yourself. I don't. Where we hop. I'm on the stream right now. So, thoughts on Brie Larson as an actress, and is she hot? Not impressed with her acting skills. I've seen her in just a handful of things. I didn't watch her Best Actress Rome movie. Is it really that impressive? Or does she feel like she's Brie Larson, playing Brie Larson? That's my guess. Yo, says Pokemonts. This guy again, we are currently reacting to you on a live stream. We object to your film opinions as film critics. Come on stream and defend yourself, wuss. Okay, I'm just, how do I block that guy? Let's see, I can add him as a moderator or hide user on channel. Yeah, that'll work. Obviously, I'm hosting my own stream now, so yeah. What is your opinion on Razor Fist? You're gonna have to remind me what that is, because obviously I can't pull my up to look up what Razor Fist is. So this guy's reacting to me on a live stream. Already, and my stream's not even popular. I have no idea who he is. And he's objecting to my film thoughts. So what did I say that was so controversial? That I don't like Zack Snyder's stuff? Or was it the Quentin Tarantino stuff that got under his britches? Because the stock film fan thing, and I picked this up in college, you'd run across hot girls who are like, well, I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, and it's kind of like, how? Like, why? How did that become like the stock answer? You know, because it makes it sound like they're movie buffs when they're just along for the ride like everybody else. Looks like a metalhead from the 80s yells a lot. Razor Fist looks like a metalhead from the 80s. Is that a YouTuber or is it a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? I agree. Zack Snyder's not a good director. What he does, and part of why I think 300 and his Justice League work, and I'm not saying he's a good cinematographer, but he understands how a shot needs to be framed to look like a page from a comic book. That's where he excels. Almost everything else, no. But if he can deliver a comic book-like aesthetic in an appropriate sense in certain films, it can work. Sure shit doesn't work for him in Rebel Moon because nothing looked like broken lenses in slow motion. Like that doesn't make me feel like I'm on some space, you know, right? So he ruined Superman, in my opinion. Superman was not a good one. That one, it looked like it had like the Gravitas trailer, right? Like the teaser trailer. It's like, wow, we're going to be taking Superman pretty seriously. And then we end a completely indifferent Superman who has no emotions as Clark Kent or Superman, gives zero shits about saving anybody. I watched the original Superman right before they forced ads on everybody on Prime Video. I watched all of them. I watched 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is not nearly as bad as you're told it is. It's not like the other ones were not cheesy. So 4 is in largely more of the same in a lot of ways. But the first one was easily the best. Superman was like he was such a nice guy, had manners. He had manners to guys because he knew he could whoop their ass. Oh, I see it. What are you guys doing? That money doesn't belong to you, or maybe you should take it back to the police. I'll help you. Like, it'd be things like that. Because he knew he didn't need to get an attitude with anybody, right? Like if you're Superman, you know you can keep the polite thing going. You don't have to be intimidating because you can do whatever you want, right? Yeah, that Superman works. Christopher Reeve works as Superman. Geralt of Rivia, that's probably a better role for Henry Cavill, actually. Favorite Alien? I read that as Tim Allen. I'm sorry. Favorite Tim Allen movie? Tim Allen actually has a better resume than a lot of stars now. Okay, look at it like this. Let's compare the filmography of Tim Allen and Dwayne Johnson. Tim Allen has the better filmography. Okay, the original Toy Story. If you want to give him credit for a Toy Story, let's just say the original. The Santa Claus. People like that. A lot of them. The first one's a good movie. Third up, Galaxy Quest. Is Dwayne Johnson in 3 watchable movies? Let's clip that for posterity, right? Favorite Alien movie and worst Alien movie from the franchise. Favorite Alien, 1979. And I say that as Aliens is not far behind at all. Like fraction of a percent. The worst... Well, it would have to be either Prometheus or Covenant, and I'm probably leaning towards Prometheus. So, yeah. Did you watch the First Omen movie? There is a movie called The First Omen, and I have not watched it. If you're talking about the one from the director of Superman, with, Atticus Finch, forgot the guy's name, but you know who I'm talking about. That's a pretty creepy movie. And the photographer that helps him out, he was the guy that had the ooze in TMN2, Secret of the Ooze. So yeah, I think Superman anime series is the best one. I'm old. There's a Superman anime. Let's see. Cool. I got James Gunn's name right earlier. Let's see what do you think about? I don't like him. He lucky with Guardians of the Galaxy by tuning the MCU, at least in he could, into more of a comedy. And it works when the characters are not anything the public knows any shit about. You may not realize it, but when Iron Man came out, people didn't know who Tony Stark was, maybe vaguely knew about Iron Man, and probably more so through Ozzy Osbourne's song. But Captain America was popular for shit. The Incredible Hulk was known. Spider-Man certainly known. Wolverine and a handful of X-Men were known to the public. The Avengers, no. Thor, no one knew who Thor was. And I mean, white girls like Thor did not know who Thor was. So when you bring in a raccoon and a tree that can only say his name and shit like that, and you try to make it funny, it'll work as long as it's the only one doing the funny thing. And now look where we are. I haven't seen the damn Borderlands movie, but it's not the same shit as Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's weird to think, hey, we got a guy who kind of botched Scooby-Doo to give him a comic book franchise, as long as it's not a franchise people care about. And then they go and say, okay, well, that worked so well. Let's give him all the franchises over at DC. Right? We're desperate. There you go. That's thoughts on James Gunn. I guess that other guy is probably having a fit about that too. Well, he doesn't like James Gunn. Well, I have to stand up, senpai. If I show James Gunn how much I like him, if I show, Sensei Zack Snyder that this guy's making fun of him, I stood up for him, he's going to give me a job pushing a broom on set of Rebel Moon sequel. Everybody's pathetic. Rock plays the same character. I would go as far as to say that Kevin Hart made Dwayne Johnson a movie star. Kevin Hart's stuff can make money on Kevin Hart. Johnson's stuff only makes money if he's jumped on somebody else's franchise. Fast Five, for example. Fast Five is his best movie. It's the 5th entry in a series that he just jumped in on. Do we need any more evidence for this? The Rock looks like he's going to be doing his long-awaited dramatic turn as Smasher, where he's playing a white guy, I believe. That was like I think a UFC fighter. or MMA of some kind. Oh, can Disney, Marvel turn it around with the Russo brothers coming in to direct the two Avengers movies? No. The damn done. These guys are not visionaries. They are fall guys who just didn't get blamed for anything. They were hired to be fall guys in case shit goes bad. But, I mean, they just allowed the studio to make the movie for them. And we're going to get a very predictable continuation. And like, did you see the stuff Ryan Reynolds said the other night in an interview? This Deadpool Wolverine is not a commercial for another movie. Clearly shots fired at MCU, where the films feel like a commercial for the next movie. So, yeah, I hope you like movies that are just a lead into the next movie. When was the peak era of cinema? I think it was the late 2000s. No, God, no. Early 20. No. What was good at that point? The hell? Peak? It would be way before that. I mean, I'm almost in sometime in the 90s. There are some real good movies that came out thereafter, but in late 2000s and 2010s, what was even good? Right, Legacy, like that's about all I can think of. Did you like Chronicles of Riddick series with Vin Diesel? I haven't seen any of them. I've seen parts of the first two on basic cable. You know, part of that FX special effect, what do they call it? They had the guy that came out as gay, and then you had a skinny broad, and they did like a dinner and a movie, like hosted movie thing on FX, DVD on TV. Oh, here's a little bit behind the scenes things, how they made his eyes look like, it'd be something like that. And that's not format. Like every week I see Svengoolie trending on Twitter and The Last Drive-In, where like, I could host a damn movie for you and shit talk it or whatever. I can do a little bit of an Elvira. Cassandra Peterson's from Kansas. Everything aligns. Like I could do that. Yeah, I mean, could we afford the movies that I want to talk about? Probably not. So that's kind of how you end up with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, doing B-grade stuff that no one sue over. Was the 90s rom-coms? Certainly. There were... there may not have been rom-coms in the 80s. Does the term start maybe with Pretty Woman? Is Mystic Pizza now labeled a rom-com? Not necessarily a hit. Retroactively, is it like a rom-com? Well, actually, were they calling When Harry Met Sally a rom-com in its time? Because I'm not sure, right? But yeah, the 90s, that was a power genre, like action films. Action films for the guy, comes for the girls. Who's going to complain? Now we make Marvel movies for everybody, and it sucks. Shit. Let's clip that just to remind everybody that everything sucks now. Batman Dark Knight was 2008. Well, see, I think Batman Begins is the better movie of the three, but The Dark Knight is almost good on the back of Heath Ledger alone. If Heath Ledger's not in that movie, it's probably not a good movie. It's so overwhelmingly because of him. Did you watch Tales from the Crypt? Not really. I didn't have HBO. I did watch, I think, a couple of the Tales from the Crypt movies lately that were on some streaming platform. There was Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood, and here's the problem. Couldn't tell the difference between the two. I can't remember what happened in which. It's almost the same thing. I thought the Crypt Keeper had a really cool thing going, and he's not really he's sort of a host, but not for movies. It's almost like he's hosting the Twilight Zone in a horror fashion almost, but yeah, are you saying I look like the damn Crypt Keeper? Or we need a new Crypt Keeper? Why not get Vaughn? I mean, I guess that'd work too, right? What 2000s shows did you see? I wasn't watching a lot of TV early on in the 2000s because working, high school, college, it was easy to get out of tune with television. TV shows were a bigger thing in the 90s for sure. We were watching a lot of Seinfeld. Really liked Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You could always sub that in. There were Full House wasn't even actually good, and we watched it and liked it, I guess. But there were so many shows on Nickelodeon and things that I watched. Then I haven't seen Nickelodeon since '97, and so I've never seen SpongeBob. I know of SpongeBob. That's kind of it. As 2000 shows go, probably 24 that I've watched every episode of. So that's probably my main 2000s show, if that counts for. Would you be satisfied with your if you hit 1 million subs but you're demonetized? Well, the problem is if you have 1 million subs and you're demonetized, most of your content is going to be, look what they did to me, guys. Hey, guys, it's Alex Jones over here. You know, I got to sell you some bioformula over here, because if you don't get this stuff over here, you're going to lose your hair, and you're going to make all the frogs gay. Okay, Christ, okay. No, but guys, seriously, if you don't support me, they're going to shut down free speech. Like, that's the problem when you're demonetized, is you spend all your time scaring people into thinking that you're standing up for them. Look, it says 2 people, and it's a revolving door of a few people coming by, but you get the like button. Is anybody being more real than I am right now? All these other guys are trying to find ways to take your damn money. And it works. It works. They scare people into funding them. What year? Okay, hold on here. What do you think of the Star Trek reboot films? It's like this. There are a few movies that you kind of wish you could do over as far as reviewing, but I have to stick to my review. That first Star Trek, 2009, I don't think people understood what the J.J. Abrams film looked like. We saw him do Mission Impossible 3, but that's not a J.J. Abrams film yet. That's not where he has full control over how this is going to go down. And the way that it goes, where that Star Trek, you see how it is about, we have to have people running in the hallway to distract you from a lack of plot. When the plot doesn't make sense, here's another plot point so you don't have time to this over here. And that's his formula. So you can call it a mystery box. It's more like a distraction tactic, but get this paper slid over here. Let's try to wrap this in minutes, guys, or 8 minutes. I would like to try to coerce my mom into doing a podcast tonight. What year were you born? 1984. Would you rather be a crew member of the old Star Trek universe or the crew of the Star Treks from... shit, no. Dude, the old Star... Look, okay, if you can be a crewman in... Not the well, shoot. The Enterprise era, well, for TNG would be great because you have the holodeck, right? And the replicator. Between those two things, you're pretty much set. Unfortunately, you almost die every week. So, and if you're not on the bridge, you're super duper expendable. So, yeah. Actually, being on the bridge, you're expendable as shit. There's a lot of aliens that kind of just board on the bridge, just teleport their way in there and kill a guy that doesn't have a line. And then punch Worf to show you that they're tough. So, pretty dangerous being on any of the Starfleet ships, if we're being real. And of course, all those ships that aren't Enterprise and get blown up, right? Watch Malcolm in the Middle. No, I did not. Sorry. I know it has Bryan Cranston. Did I hear you correctly earlier that you went to jail, or was that a bit? No, that was serving time in Lawrence, Kansas. Kind of think about it more in prison than in college. Because I wasn't really learning anything. I was paying money to teach other people's stupid kids how movies worked. So and I just got in like super shape. So it was kind of like just going to prison more than anything. I mean, I threatened, like, I don't want to keep going to school. Screw the graduate. Just move to LA and make movies, or try to. It probably would have worked out better than mounting debt and no prospects, right? So, who is J.J. Abrams or Zack Snyder? Now, that is a question. A good question for another time, right? They're both Jewish, so I mean, it could really go either way. They're not really giving me one trump card over the other right here. Zack Snyder no longer has a daughter, but J.J. Abrams is making his become a pop star. Damn, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to say Zack Snyder's better than J.J. Abrams. It's a movie that potentially has more balls to it than a J.J. Abrams mitigated disaster, right? So I'm going to go there on that one. That's the way I've decided. So, about the next stream, I'm going to have an OnlyFans model as a guest. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be wild and crazy, and that's it. Look, anytime I try to schedule anything for anybody, they don't do it. So, we'll see if this actually happens, right? But, yeah. We're going to try to break the internet, or at least break the YouTube vertical stream platform here, so they don't have to rewrite the rules, right? Like Steven Crowder, like, oh, what we're doing is so important for democracy. They had to remove us. They had to censor us. They're censoring you. They're censoring your ability to get information. Half joking, but what do you think of Frozen? The one where the people are on the chairlift and get stuck? I haven't seen that. The one where the like blonde chick says let it go? I haven't seen that. They've got a tough act to follow, don't they? They have to keep coming up with hit songs for the Disney style film, whereas Pixar, they don't have to do music. They don't have to have original songs. They don't have to make it a musical. But the Disney animations, they make them musicals, and that is no easy feat. Did you like X-Men 1 from 2000? Yes, and I think I like it better than X2. I'm sorry, I just don't think X2 is nearly as amazing as people say. Yeah, it's way better than X3. Shit. I mean, X3 is near the barrel for the whole Fox superhero line. But X-Men does a lot good in ways that you think it has to be implemented. In 2000, the comic accurate X-Men costumes are not going to fly. I'm sorry. We're in the wake of the Matrix, and you're telling me, okay, let's make comic book accurate bright color costumes. It's not going to work. The Matrix had like a lap over pop culture in this space in their demo, and they had to be black leather. It had to go down that way. So yeah, the first X-Men movie is really not bad. It had an interesting plot. The bad guy had a cool plan. I'm going to turn humans, these world leaders, into mutants. That'll help us. Kind of a cool way to go about it. I wish Rogue was different. I didn't picture Rogue as a teenager, you know? Like when I'm watching the Fox X-Men show, I'm like, whoa, that's a woman right there, you know? That, hey, let's get Anna Paquin, a little girl, to play there, right? Why did you like the art house film with Emma Stone? For did I like? I mean, it tells an interesting story. It's like Frankenstein, perverted mind Frankenstein, right? But it's also fairly unpredictable, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, I thought it had some interesting visuals and effects about it too. But yeah, I didn't hate it, that's for sure. Kendall Jenner, hot to you? She looks too skinny, and I don't go out there with the too skinny thing too much. But I mean, she's on the borderline of the too skinny. Just I don't know, just doesn't not really appealing. I'm assuming she had a ton of surgery too. Like the family paid top dollar for those faces, right? All right, well, we're gonna wrap this up before I say something racist. Okay. If you made it this far, wait until marriage counseling. See you guys next week.